Hey, thanks for coming down. It's we've had a few chats across the events and stuff like that, but it's good to just, it's going to be good to just sit down in a room like this and have a chat and get a bit deeper with stuff, because you got an incredible story.
Yeah, thanks.
And you're doing amazing things between your support work business, the talks that you do, everything like that. It's great to see. It's great to see everything that the more and more people you meet that you introduce into this awesome circle we've got going on. Just the stories and how everyone's just out there changing lives. So
Thanks, bro.
That's good.
Yeah.
So do you want to start at the start, I guess?
Yeah. To introduce myself,
You
go for it.
Go for it, yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, well, I'm Jacob Little. I'm co-founder of About Time for Justice. Our mission is to help all survivors of institutional child abuse seek justice, start healing, while giving the voiceless their voices back. There's been so many survivors like myself and my father, who's my business partner at About Time for Justice, who have tried to speak up about what they've been through. But they're afraid that they won't be believed, or if they try and tell their story, nothing will happen. Like myself, I tried to speak up. I had a flow-on effect from that, affected my whole family's life. So yeah, my essay took place inside of a Brisbane boys' yard setting, which is like a youth detention centre. Has different names, or could be known as different things. Like it could be known as a boys' yard. That's what they called it for me. It's called youth detention centres or boys' homes. It can be foster cares, docks, any schools, private, public, boarding, any churches. Churches could be like church-run organisation. Church-run schools could be church-run Sundays, like Sunday school. We've seen cases where people get taken out for like camps. So like the priest will get kids drunk and take them on camps. The foster care system has different names in different states and territories. So any police, any PCYC, basically any Australian institutions, even sporting teams, Girls Guides. So yeah, my essay was inside of a prison cell. The officer come into my cell after lockdown. So lockdown is like when everyone's locked in their cell at the end of the day. So during the day, you might be able to walk around the yard, you'll have your lunch, your breakfast, you have muster. So muster is when you're in the jail unit, so there's 50 guys. They do basically a head count. So you stand out the front of your cell, they walk past you with a little booklet with your ID card. So lockdown is at the end of the day, all the musters have been done, you've had dinner, that's a wrap. So you're in your cell by yourself and you come into my cell. A very small cell, I was one out. So one out means you're by yourself. So there was no other people in the cell, it was just me. And he come into my cell and essayed me. It happened more than once. So it was a very hard time in my life. I was only 17 when I went to these places, but the age varies from the people that we help. Anything under 18 is considered institutional child essay. We do a lot of work with guys who are now adults and now they're in the prison systems. So I turned 18 in custody. I talk really fast too, so if you just want to just cut me off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I turned 18 in custody in jail, and the jail that I was at was Brisbane Boys' Yard. So that was a men's maximum security jail. So when you're in jail, you're either on remand, so that means you're being charged, criminally charged, and you haven't been sentenced, or you'll be in a sentence prison. So Brisbane Boys' Yard was actually located inside of a sentence prison, Brisbane Correctional Centre. But because the Boys' Yard section at that time is only for 17-year-olds, so anyone under 17 would be I don't know, it's weird how they done it. So it was like under 17 would be like juvie, but I was still in juvie, but it was just the Boys' Yard for 17-year-olds. And then when you turn 18, you go to men's. So the men's centre where I was located was in Ipswich. So that was the sentence prison, and 500 metres down the road was the remand centre. So I turned 18, and technically because I hadn't been sentenced, I was still on bail. I was on remand, but they only had one section for the Boys' Yard, 17-year-olds. So then I got taken down to Arthur Correctional Centre. And I was very scared because of what I had just been through. I didn't know what to expect. As a young kid, you watch movies and I was like, fuck, I don't know what's going to happen. I was pretty scared. I remember walking into the units on one of my first days, and just to sort of paint a picture for anybody who hasn't been into jail, once you walk into a unit, these units were old school units, so R&R, Arthur Gorrie, old school units, about 30-man units. So you walk in, and behind you was a fishbowl. They call a fishbowl in jail that because it looks like a fishbowl. Inside the fishbowl is where the screws sit, corrections officers. So they're sitting in there, and they hide, or they're just placed behind them just in case something kicks off. They can't be attacked. So you have to talk to them through the fishbowl, through like perspex glasses, like little slits. So there might be forms you have to fill out to put your numbers on your phone. So you have like a phone to call people, but you have to put a slip in, which you have to put through the perspex glass with the name, the date of birth, where they're from. So the fishbowl's behind you. You walk in. To the left-hand side's a Brasco. It's like a slang name for a toilet in jail, Brasco. To the left-hand side, just in front of that, is a kitchen. So it's just like a big bench. In front of the kitchen is a laundry. And so there's 3 tiers in this unit anyway. So there's top tier, middle tier, which is where the fishbowl and the laundry, the kitchen is. To the right-hand side, there's the jail yard. So in the jail yard, there's chin-up bars and dip bars. Sometimes pads. That's the only sort of equipment you can get. Sometimes they don't have pads. So boys will put toilet paper or toilet rolls inside of socks and use them as pads. Mm-hmm. Sometimes get creative with chairs and put like 2 or 3 chairs together for sides or fronts. Sometimes you'll put guys on your back. Yeah, and just like do squats.
Yeah.
So so we've got the top tier. Top tier is just you like cells. So there's 1 out, as I said earlier, 1 out means you're by yourself, 2 out, so 2-man cell. The cells are so filled up in jails, in most jails all around Australia. Some guys are like 3 out in a 1 out cell. So 3 guys, there's a toilet, there's a shower, people are shitting.
And there's only 1 bunk?
Yeah.
For 3 people?
Yeah. So it's just the mattresses on the ground.
Mattresses on the ground.
Yes.
Is that how overpopulated our prison system is?
Some. I don't know about Victoria. I know they're just closing down Port Phillip, which is, I think, the largest prison in Australia, I think, or at least in Victoria. And they open up this one. It's close to here, Indian Plains or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I remember just rolling into the unit. There's lots of guys. I was scared. Lots of different nationalities. You got First Nations mob, Islanders, Asian, Maori, white fellas, all big tattooed, scary looking guys.
Is it really like the States where you go and you hang around that specific group? You know, because you hear people talk about that all the time.
Yeah.
You go in, and they said that's part of the reasons why some bike clubs, I know it's not like this in Australia, but some bike clubs in America are all white motorcycle clubs and all black, because when you go to jail, you still hang around, you know, your own race.
Yeah.
So it's like that here?
Some yards are segregated. In Queensland, it wasn't so much like that. It is definitely segregated for gangs, though. In Queensland, where I was, there's heaps of bikies and like jail gangs, and there's ones that are way more stronger than, you know, other ones. Like we weren't. The club that I was in wasn't as strong as what the other ones were. So, but yeah, the yards, like all the so in Queensland, they call First Nation mob Murray. So all the Murray boys used to generally kick it together. And then everyone was just sort of together. Sometimes some of the Asian boys would kick it together. But there wasn't that many like Asian boys in there. So, but yeah, so I remember just walking into that unit, and so from the fishbowl, if you look down the unit, so we got the top tier, we got the middle tier, and then you got the bottom tier. So you can see right down the end of the middle tier, but if you stand at the top of the stairs, down the bottom of the stairs, it's like a black spot. And I remember walking in, and these guys were doing something. I didn't know what they were doing. And they were mixing up like a big spoon, like big spoon, like not a teaspoon, not a tablespoon, like a big serving spoon. And they were mixing up, and they just had a shot. And I was just like, fuck, what have I got myself into here? You know, I've really got what I've asked for now. You know, I'm trying to gangster on, and I was like, fuck, these guys are all using. And you can't run up to the fishbowl and go, hey, chief, these guys are using. Like, you're going to get your head kicked in. When you're in jail is the code. Like, you don't dob on anyone. You don't really talk to the screws unless you have to.
Yep.
So like if you have to hand in the paperwork to speak to your loved ones, you do, but you shouldn't go up and just be sitting at the fishbowl, cheese bowl, and like talking to the screws.
Yeah.
Like you get your head kicked in.
Yeah.
Generally, you should. That's what it was like when I was there.
And was that a stark change from what you were in previously in the juvenile system?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was way different.
Less like, I don't know, less gang structure
Yeah.
of hierarchy and stuff like that. Would you say
Yeah.
in the juvenile system?
Yeah, there was only a few like crews in the juvie.
Yeah.
But it wasn't more. Yeah, it wasn't like that in the men's. It was
Yeah.
like you don't talk to the screws. Like when you're in juvie, like you don't know them jail rules, and it was a bit more like you could talk to the screws there. But when you got to the men's, like you didn't talk to the screws so much.
And was there still like, because I know like the previous people we've spoken about on the podcast, they speak about, you know, the friendships that you create in jail and like the communities, how they become brothers in the end of the day.
Yeah.
Did you experience that like across both of the sort of prisons you're in?
I definitely met some people that I had relationships with, friendships with, sorry. You know, when I got out of jail. I don't really speak to any of them anymore. I further down the track, I ended up getting involved in a street crew and then an outlaw motorcycle gang. I recruited someone from jail, 2 people from jail. One died, and the other one, he was doing something that he wasn't meant to in the club. He went against the rules of the club using a certain type of drug ice, so he had to go. So yeah, both of the guys that I met in jail, one died and then the other one ended up on drugs and still in jail right now. He got out on bail, about on parole, and then got caught again, same charge, drug trafficking, caught for kilo on a gun. So yeah.
A lot of people don't realise that most clubs, well, the majority of clubs have the rule, no ice.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with it. You can't have mates that use it. But people don't realise that. So I always found, because I've known people that have gotten done and on the front of the newspaper, done for ice. And I know 100% that it wasn't. You know, so that's a myth that is always perpetrated by the media.
Well, definitely. I mean, that's a stigma. If you hadn't told me that, I thought, you know, that if you're in that sort of scene, you know, you're in the biker scene, you're in a gang, that you know, you're only, you know, you're probably 2 steps away from someone that's, you know, doing ice or whatever. And this is me obviously having no context of anyone that's actually in it other than the people I meet. So that's interesting. It's great to hear.
But you're probably not wrong in saying that. Yeah, we are 2 steps away from guys that are using it.
Yeah.
But not 2 steps away. Yeah, 2 steps away.
Yeah.
Like not one.
Not one.
So that first moment when you went in, like, how you feel like? So do you get like? Because I've never been in. Do you get like were you 1 up in there or 2 up?
Yeah, I was 1 up. Yeah.
So do you get somebody to like show you around? Like, do the screws do that, or do they buddy you up with somebody and they're like, follow this dude, he'll show you the ropes, or did you know anybody in there that took you under your wing?
Yeah, so I was pretty lucky. I was when I first got to Arthur Gorey, they have an induction unit. So induction unit is for like first timers. So you'll go in and they'll just sort of like say, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. But there wasn't a specific person that I remember that done that. There may have been, but I didn't remember it. But I got moved very quickly over to a unit where another member from a club that I ended up joining was in. So my father was involved in an outlaw motorcycle gang for many years. He was a life member. I think he's done about, maybe close to 10 years as a member, and then served 16 and a half years in the New South Wales prison system. So he's been out now. He just finished his parole late last year. That was 22 years on the top. So when I say bottom and top, when you get charged, for example, like my dad, he got 22 years on the top, but he had to serve 16 and a half years, and that's the bottom. So that's the bottom of your sentence, and then the top is a 22. So he served 16 and a half in jail and then served the rest in the community.
Makes sense.
Yeah, so, yeah, we just, it's been good having him out. But, yeah, back to the jail units, I suppose. Well, there wasn't so much of that, and I was lucky I got put straight into a unit where one of Dad's boys was. He sent a message up and said, hey, my son's coming in. I remember one of the first days I got into the jail, I think I was in the induction unit, And I was like, oh, do you know this guy? And I seen him. He was on the oval and he was talking to me on the walkway. He's like, I'll get you down. Anyway, he got me down after a couple of days and he sort of showed me the ropes. Was pretty lucky there. I was very lucky. I had a couple of older heads, him and another guy who sort of had a big pull in the jail. They showed me how to train, told me what to say, what to stay away from. Drugs and politics in jail can get you in a lot of trouble. Politics are really big in jail.
Yeah.
Really?
Like you would not believe. Like it's massive. Yeah, lots of politics, just whinging and bullshit, drugs. Yeah, so I was lucky. But like yesterday, since I've been coming to Victoria, they actually have like peer educators in the prison systems, billets, peer billets, I think the terminology is called. So it's like when somebody first comes in, they'll show them where to go, how to do buy up. That's like to order your food, where you get your food from, where the laundry is. Then there's like peer educators that like tell guys if you want to get into education or if there's programs. So that's really good. And I didn't have that. I don't remember it. And each unit has that sort of 2 or 3 people that are going around teaching guys, telling them what to do. And it makes it helpful, man, because when you first get to jail, heaps of guys that have particular First Nations, Bob, that have like a lot of family members in jail, or just say, for example, you got a big family that's from jail. But some guys come to jail not knowing anything. Like my dad was done juice jail in New South Wales. I was lucky that he had the member in Queensland to help me. But for somebody who doesn't know, they just don't know, and you can be tricked and manipulated very quickly.
Yeah, fall into some tricky situations.
Yeah.
So for you coming out of all that, how did you stay on the right path? Or like, did you stay on the right path coming out of it straight away, or did you go through more trials and tribulations?
Yeah, so when I got out of jail from Arthur Gorrie, I got out and I was pretty angry about what I'd been through. I was taking a lot of drugs, drinking, partying, fucking up. I got involved in street gangs and we started committing like more and more crimes, drinking, partying, having big benders, started hanging around the club, started being a lot of fun. We were sort of just always hanging around the club on the weekends and having benders. And I suppose when I was at that age, I was very impressionable. My father wasn't there. I grew up in housing commission. There's a lot of domestic violence, a lot of drinking. So the guys were impressionable to me. And I have an addictive personality. So whatever I get into, I just sort of go hard.
Yeah.
And
100%. Yeah.
Yeah. In that life, it's fun. There's a lot of fun to be had. Lots of gangbangs with girls, lots of benders with the boys. And the crimes, like, I don't know, I genuinely like to get in fights. I like to punch. I like getting punched in the head. I box now. I haven't been doing it so much lately, but I genuinely, like, I enjoy that. And back then, like, I didn't care. I didn't care about getting in trouble. I was like, fuck, go for it. Or if you double me, my mates are just going to get you, like, or I'm going to get you again. I didn't really care. So I just started committing more and more violent crimes, But I done some things I also regret. When I look back on it now, when I had to do things that went against my morals, and it was like a decision, like if the hierarchy said to do it, you had to do it. It's like, or you get kicked out, or, you just have to do it.
Yeah. And
you don't have to do it.
But you don't want to leave.
Yeah.
Or you don't want to, yeah.
Yeah. Like they're not putting a gun to your head and saying, do it. But I suppose I done things that I didn't want to do. And
you don't want to look weak in front of the boys.
Yeah.
You don't have to do anything, but you don't want to.
Yeah.
You want to be part of the group.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it wasn't anything like if someone said to go and do like work, like I'll do it. But if it went against my morals, like if I had to do something against like one of my friends or something like that, so I got put in situations where I had to do things to people that were my friends. They fucked up. Like they definitely fucked up. But because I vouched for them, I suppose I had to.
You got to be the one to deliver it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that happen as well.
Yeah. And it feels shit. But so I was sort of back on bail again, back on probation, back on parole. Heaps of my mates were starting to get big sentences. So in Queensland, they brought in this law called the Vlad laws. I can't remember what the acronym is, but if you're charged under that, so there's 2 pieces to it. So just say you have one criminal charge and you get charged with the Vlad part as well. You're looking at 20 plus years straight off the bat. You're made to wear pink, no TV in your cell.
Made to wear pink.
So when you go to jail,
If you're a bikie.
if you're a bikie and you're charged under these flat laws, you have to wear pink in your cell and around the jails
Because
if you get let out.
They thought that would be a deterrent.
Yeah.
basically you got to wear, like, instead of normal attire,
Yeah.
is it orange? Is it orange suits?
It's like fluoro pink.
No, but like the normal color.
Oh, it's a jumpsuit, yeah.
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 So why is that? They want to make you stand out, or
I don't they wanted to embarrass you.
Yeah, try and embarrass. Yeah.
All these tough guys wearing pink, they feel,
okay.
stop people doing it.
So that's in jail, but also when you come back into the community or something.
No, so it's only while in custody.
Okay, yeah.
So, it was. Some people make jokes about it, like they call it the Pink Palace, or I reckon I look pretty in pink, so I didn't really care.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so no, the other shit conditions: 22 hours a day in your cell, no TV, only contact to the outside world was one non-contact visit a week and 1 6-minute phone call a day. So yeah, these laws just got brought in. I was, I had like multiple assaults. There's people that I was attacking. The gang squad, I think it was Maxima where we were from. They might have heard that I'd bashed someone, but I'll go and put pressure on them to try and like talk against me. Sometimes they would talk, but they wouldn't go to court. Sometimes they just heard and they just charged me to see what if I plead out or not. But yeah, soon enough I was back at the point where I was like going to be going back to jail. I remember I was at Beanley Watch House. I've been at Beanley Courthouse. One of my mates, he got sentenced to like 8 years on the top and 3.5 on the bottom. Anyway, so we knew he was going to get smashed. I think he was charged on a GBH, caved someone's head in. And I was like, see you, brother, love ya. I'll see you on the other side. And at that time, I didn't know where the other side was going to be, if it was in jail or, when he got out or whatever it was. About 4 days later, I went to my local gym and there was another member of another club there. And I was with my cowie at the time. And he said, like bad words for in the criminal lifestyle, but I suppose for anyone, this one, by pedophile, sex offender, someone calls you that, you'd be pretty upset. But if you call someone a dog, it's sort of in the same kettle of fish.
Really?
So like it's really bad in that world.
Yeah, that was the worst. If you call someone a dog, it had to be a punch on.
Yeah,
you couldn't let that slide.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. And if you don't, you're just like basically a weak cunt. If someone declares you a dog, they should be using like paperwork and then like. So if someone's called a dog, you should be producing paperwork like a police statement. He didn't have that. And I was like, I seen him at the gym. I was like, "You call me a dog," and I'm pretty sure he cracked me. I was like, "Let's get outside." And so we both had our shirts off. And it would have looked intimidating, but to me back then, like it was just a one-on-one fight. Like my cowie was there, his cowie was there. We had the fight. That was it. We shook hands and we kept training. So the fight was over. We kept training. So, but they called the police. And at this time, I think the Maxima and these laws that only just brought in, so it was fucking red hot. Like they were raiding all these places. Like you had to be super careful. Anyway, so the cops come. And I jumped in my car and drove off. I got lucky. I was like, fuck, I'm out of here. Like, it's all good. And I got around the corner, and next thing I know, I had the police coming. I was like, fuck, I'm pinched. Anyway, so they had the sirens on. It was my mate's car too. This poor bloke got his car impounded for like 3 weeks. Stitched up a beauty. And sorry, Kelvin. So I got sort of brought around the corner, and they got me in. This police officer, man, he was shaking like a leaf because he was the only person around. He was like, it was so funny. They put me in the paddy wagon, took me to the cells. And so I went, this was my second time in jail. So I got charged with a fray, which is basically, when you have a fight in public and there's people around and it scare people. It's not legal advice either. I sort of was... It wasn't much to me back then, but if you look back on it now, probably pretty scary. But the worst part was I got charged with the fray and then the Vlad part, so that had the 20 plus years.
Shit.
So yeah, I spent 7 days at the watch house there in segregation, then went to Brisbane Correctional Centre, which is where I originally got locked up as a kid when I was in the Brisbane Boys Yard. But this time they put me in the detention unit. So the detention unit is just like one spline, and then there's probably cells on either side. And there's no TV in the cell there. You're fed through the door every day. But there's not even a TV on the wall. Like in a normal cell, like you'll even have like somewhere to sit and like have like put your clothes, like a cupboard. Like this cell is just a straight bed sort of frame and a mattress on it. And then there's a cell door that's at 2 hours a day, I think. Oh, no, I think the whole day they open it, and there's like a little shower yard. And in the shower yard, it's like got little dots all through the roof so natural sunlight comes through. But yeah, so we're there for 7 days straight, and they just feed you through the cell door. That was very boring. But in that whole spine, every single guy who was in there was an outlaw, in an outlaw motorcycle gang. So we had all been charged under the lad laws. So there was heaps of one club in particular that we're at war with, and then one of them was my neighbour. On the outside, like we were full going on with it, like it was punch-ons, like we're having run-ins, people getting charged for like things that happen in public, like me. And so the guy who I sent off from Beanley Watch House, he was there, and my cellie who was in the other club, but he had been in jail the whole time. Like so there was a war on the street. But on the inside, there's still a war on the inside, but he didn't know like what was going on. It was tit for tat, like we'll meet, like we're going right on with it. So my mate was right down the other end. So I was trying to yell out to him. He's like, your brother's here. And he's like, oh, it's his name. I was like, oh, yeah. So I tried to yell out to him, but it was too noisy. Anyway, so I'm like about 7 days in. And when I got to that jail, when you get your buy up, it's like food you can buy. And I hadn't had anything like just outside of jail meals for like 14 days straight. So I was coming down off the chocolate, bro. And this mad cunt sent me down chocolate bar. It was the best chocolate bar I've ever had in my life, bro. Yeah, it was the best. So I remember going from there, got put on the bus. So I'm about 14 days into my segregation. I haven't had a shave. My hair's starting to look a little bit fucking, how you going? I'm looking pale. Anyway, so we actually got put on the bus together, and I think it was between, there might have been between 5 and 8 people from the other club at the other jail, and there was a couple in the bus. They didn't put us in the same bus. But me and him were like, because we both knew, because he only just got locked up, so we were going at it together with them, and, like we knew what it was like on the street, and so we knew, like, we would have to go back to back. We're like, whatever happens, we have to go back to back. Anyway, so we get to the jail and they start telling us, all right, this is how the jail yard's segregated. So when you get your run out, so the 2 hours out of your cell, each club is segregated, but not by yourself. So it wasn't like this club with this club only. It was this club with that club. And the club that we got put in with was the club that we're at war with. So, I mean, I was shitting myself. And we already said we have to go out back to back. Because there's two things that will happen. Like, if you don't go out, your club would just look like a flop. And then when you get put back into normal out of segregation, like everyone else in the jail would probably just bash you, like just because you just didn't go out. Well, not everyone, because not everyone would be having a fucking, wouldn't want to go on with it with some members or clubs.
That's the politics inside, I suppose.
Yeah. But then others, like old jail heads and other crews, would be like, you are just weak cunts, like you should have fucking went out. But then also to our own club, we make them look shit, and they'll probably want to kick us out too because we didn't go out. Anyway, so we're like, we're going to go out. So at this time, I was looking at 20 plus.
Just for context, how old are you at this point?
2014, I'm 33 now. It's 2025, so I was about 23 or 22, 23.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was pretty young. I was a full member at this time. So I was a member of the club and I was a member of the street gang. So I remember us going out in the yard and I was like, it's going to be on 100%. And me and my mate were just like, we're just going to walk out, see what happens. There's 7 of them or whatever, way more than them. But we sort of come to the understanding that these guys have got us on video, and if we have that affray, like there's no way that we can get off this charge. We're on camera, we're in jail, and we sort of just come to the understanding that like we're not going to let these guys get a conviction on us and make us stay in here for the rest of our lives. So we went out in the yard and we're like, fuck these cunts, like we're not going to get done by them. We'll just call it sweet. Anyway, so it was all good. Very lucky because it could have went either way.
Could have been one person rolling out of bed the wrong way. Yeah. Wanted to pick a fight.
Yeah.
And you would have got that 20 plus.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And literally there was guys like that we were punching on with on the outside that got locked up on the same thing, like, and they were right there. So like it was serious. That's what was.
We always got told that like the rules on the outside didn't apply on the inside.
Yeah.
You know, if there was a war on the outside, it didn't matter because you just couldn't get away.
Yeah, yeah,
It'd be ridiculous to fight 24/7.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so it was hairy.
Yeah. So coming out of that, like you said, you know, you went through trials and tribulations off the back of it. What was the turning point? Was it changing your environment? Was it, you know, finding a particular thing that helped you get out of the life that you were living? Or
Yeah, that's a good question. I like that question. So my dad, he used to have the 16.5-year prison sentence. So from the ages of 10 years old.
Just with your mic, to just push that a little bit closer to you. Yeah, sweet.
So Dad served a 16.5-year prison sentence, and so from the young ages of 10, I was growing up, visiting jails, having jail phone calls. My mates were in jail. So where I grew up was housing commission. So I grew up in a place called the Zoo, and basically it was like a long cul-de-sac. Although it was a long strip, and then it had a cul-de-sac, and everyone there was basically housed those. Everyone's mothers, brothers, fathers, sisters. You know, they're all in that life. We had junkies that were living there. People's family members were in jail. Like one of my best mates from there, like their dads were in jail. So it was very normalized, you know, having jail phone calls, having jail visits. I remember rocking up to so many jail visits, and the screws would be being grubs, you know, just sort of like looking down at you, standing over you, speaking like shit to you or your loved ones, to other people's loved ones. There was guys in jail that might have played up towards certain prison officers, but they'd take it out on their family members, like get guys' girlfriends, take them into the cells, strip search them. So when you walk into a jail visit, you got to like sign in with your ID. You got to go through like eye scanners, the body scanners, wands, sometimes pat down, sniffer dogs running over your private areas. So it's pretty crappy. So I done about 16.5 years jail visits. I served 1 year in jail. It's 1 year I'll never get back. I'm not a jail expert, but I'd say I'm a product of the system because it just comes so normalised to me. So the turning point for me was Dad coming up for parole. So when he was in jail, he was at Glen Innes Correctional Centre. He spent most of his time in a men's maximum security jails in the New South Wales prison system. So I done my time in Queensland, Arthur Gorrie Correctional Centre, Brisbane Correctional Centre, Woodford Correctional Centre. I visited my dad at Lithgow Correctional Centre, Long Bay Correctional Centre, Kempsey Correctional Centre. So most of that time was maxed. So in New South Wales jails, you actually wear full overalls. So when you turn up to a visit, they're zip tied here, 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 here at the bottoms, so you can't put drugs in. Lots of guys put things in their jail safe, straight out the fucking clacker.
Yeah,
as in the people doing the visits, or
both. So it could come from
both people are in.
Oh, both. Sorry,
in the overalls.
Yeah. So no, only the.
Anyone can.
Yeah. Only the person who's in custody. So yeah, I hadn't seen my dad's tattoos for so long, man.
Wow.
Like he's even his skin. So he done about 13 years of maxo, so I didn't see his skin for 13 years. So he's coming up for parole, starts going to like minimum jails, lower security jails, visits start getting a bit more laxed. So Glen Innes Correctional Centre is a full farm jail. It's a fucking mad jail in the sense of jail visits. And also it's really pretty, like there's no fences, there's kangaroos, there's heaps of birds, there's big trees and shit. Like it's like my dad didn't see trees for so many years. Although Long Bay Correctional Centre, some of the jails there you can see the ocean, Malabar. But yeah, anyways, so he's getting out, he's coming up for parole, he starts getting work release. So work release is like during the week, all the crims would jump in a truck or a car with the screw and go down to like local parks or other organisations in the town and help out, maybe clean, make sure it's weeding or anything that needs to be done. But then he got weekend release. So that meant my nan actually moved to Glen Innes. She's a soldier. She done so much for my dad, helping him get out. Much love to my nan, and my mum too. She stood solid by me when I got out of jail, and while I was in jail. So weekend releases, I'd bring my little brother and sister down. So I was about 5 hours from Brisbane. I planned to move out down to Dad when he got out of jail, but I was still on bail. So I had left the gangs behind because they said to Dad, if Jacob is caught associating, because we joined the same outlaw motorcycle gang, worst case scenario would be you'd put him back in jail. Best case scenario would be that I wouldn't be allowed to see him because I planned to say I was out, but I wasn't going to be out. And I don't know if I was under investigation or they just thought about that I was going to do it. Then I was going to do it. But I ended up signing a stat deck. My lawyer got it all certified and I left the club. So I went and told the club, I was like, hey, this is what's going on. They're like, all right, you can leave. And yeah, so I left. And that turning point for me was a part of that was, you know, my dad getting out of jail and me wanting to be there for my family. So I sort of stepped away. But then also on top of that, I didn't just like, boom, leave the club and that was it. I was taking a lot of drugs. I was drinking. I was still a crim. I was still making money the wrong way. And I also remembered, like, I was always paranoid because I was taking so many drugs. And I done like heaps of bad things. Like, as I said, I broke my morals. I done some bad things to people. And I also ripped people off. And like people from that life, if the shoe was on the other foot, like if that person just left, I'd still want to get them. It's the dog eat dog world. It doesn't matter. Like you still want to square up. You still want to get paid back. So I just sort of thought about, hey, what am I going to do here? I asked Dad, I was like, because I'm really into my training. I run a couple of marathons. I do lots of running, done boxing, been training, playing NRL since I was pretty young, touch footy, went to like a footy school as a kid. So I love training. So I was thinking about being a personal trainer. And Dad's like, why don't you help the person who helped you tell your story? Originally I said, you know, I went through that SA, institutional SA at Brisbane Boys Yard, and somebody helped me to tell my story.
I see you'd already done that.
Yeah, I had already done that.
Yeah. Right.
So that point of when I shared my story of SA and when I left was all, and Dad getting out of jail was all really close together. I think it was, Dad was maybe still in jail when I told my story. Yeah. Or he might have been out, but it was all very close. And so I sort of started working. They put the idea to start studying in my head. And I had so many funny thoughts about studying. I was like, will they accept me? Like, as in, will the university accept me? What will they think of me? 2014, I was looking at 20 plus years. I'm just a dumb cream. What are the people from jail going to think about me? Like, I cared so much about what they thought. That was a big thing for me, caring about what my guys from my old life thought. And I was like, hold on a second. I've never given a fuck about what people think about me now. So why would I start caring about what some guys who probably would just only like me because I could do something for them, or I was living that life where I was making money the wrong way, maybe with them, maybe without them, or maybe that was of value to them. But I was like, fuck, who gives a fuck? I'm not even associating with them anymore anyway. I've left that life. So I started studying. I started doing what's called a tertiary preparation program, TPP, which is run by, formerly was known by University of Southern Queensland, but formerly is known now as Uni SQ. And they actually run the program in jail. It's free for any Australian tertiary preparation program. It's like a bridging course. Because when I finished high school, I basically went straight into jail. I turned 18 in jail, and I was in the criminal justice system for 10 years. My first charge was assault police in New South Wales on a footy camp. And my last offence was, I think that was in 2009, that Bildura Children's Court. 2019 is when I was sentenced for my last criminal charge. So yeah, they put that idea in my head. So I started studying, and then I got my compensation, and they gave me their blessing to go out. The organisation who helped me to tell my story and put this idea in my head to go out and start About Time for Justice. So me and Dad, who's my co-e in About Time for Justice, kicked off About Time for Justice in 2020. So it was just me and him then.
Where did it come about, you telling your story? Because that must have been hard.
How?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did it come about?
Yeah.
So there was a fella who was in jail with my dad, and this fella, he's dead now. Rest in peace to this guy. He and my father were cellmates, and he was getting out of jail and he was moving up to where I was, and I think my dad said, "Can you look after my son?" And he's like, "Yeah." Anyway, so I was full crimin at that time. I was a nominee, might have been a member by now, and because we connected through boxing training, because I was still always training. I just love it. I love to get comfortable being uncomfortable and really push limits, especially in running, and boxing too. Like boxing, you can really you can go hard as fuck. Anyway, so I remember, he was looking after me and we were doing things together as well. And I remember actually one night I was at the clubhouse, and that same club that I was talking about, we were at war with them and we had something happen. I was at the clubhouse, I was cleaning it, and the cops come, and me and my same Koe who had the fight at the gym with, we were both on the run from the cops. So we quickly ran into the clubhouse and locked it, because we had big locks on the clubhouse. Like, you can't get into the clubhouse. Like, there's no way you can get in. Anyway, so we locked it because we only just got out the front and we just locked up, and it's hard to get back in. It takes like you have to do all little tricks and to try and get in. Anyway, so we ran around the back of the clubhouse and we're like, we got away, it's fine. Anyway, next thing you know, there's helicopters, and there's dogs. So we ran and hid around the back of the clubhouse and hid in the toilet and put our feet up against the door so they couldn't get in. But they put the flashlight over the thing. They're like, if you don't open up the door, we're going to let the dogs in. And we're like, nah, dogs. Yeah, so we end up both getting pinched. And anyway, so this guy who I was kicking it with, Dad, said, can you look after my son? He organised a lawyer for me while I was locked up that night. I remember getting out of the watch house the next day. My Koe got watch house bail from, I think it was Logan Police Station. Watch house bail means you just get, police house bail means you just get let out from police station. But I was already on bail, so I had to go to the courthouse the next day to get bail conditions. So I got let out from Beanley. Fucking news reporters chasing me down the road, but it was so embarrassing. Anyway, so this guy had organised me a lawyer. So we were tight as. He was at my house with my missus. He was organising it. I was on the run at this time. I was living right next door to Palm Beach Police Station. I was on the run. I got pinched at the clubhouse. So it was all coming down on me, But yeah, this guy, he got pinched for robbery. Around about the same time I got locked up for the Vlad charges, and then I got out, and then the roles reversed. I was looking after his sons while he was locked up. There was multiple times where I went and picked his kids up, and took them to the clubhouse, stayed at my house. We went to people's houses to take care of business for them. So it went both ways. So that person helped me to tell my story, and without that person, I wouldn't have been able to tell my story. So he said, like, what happened when you went to the watch out? When you went to the Brisbane Boys Yard, and he had his own story too. And he helped me to tell my story, and then from there, I gave my father courage to tell his story as well, along with him. Yeah, so that's how I sort of told my story. Dad started telling his story. So I've been working with survivors for about 6 years now. Yeah, so
there's definitely a niche that you're in. So do you want to tell us about that?
Yeah, of course. So if a survivor has a case of any of the institutions I listed before, most of them would be state-run abuse. So when I say state-run abuse, that's state school, state boys' homes, girls' homes, orphanages. Then there's the foster care system. So that's all state. When I say state, that's government. Then it would be churches. Victoria is really bad for church, SA. So many perpetrators down here. So we help to identify if a survivor has a case. So a lot of the work that we do is in the prison systems. So this week, I've been to Port Phillip Correctional Centre. I've been to Melbourne Remand Centre, going to Dame Phyllis Frost Centre. So them two, I said previously, both men's maximum security. Dame Phyllis Frost Centre is a women's maximum security jail. Going to Ravenhall tomorrow, which is a men's medium security jail. Each jail has their own set of rules and criteria to get in. And because I have criminal history, it makes it really hard. So it's a bit of a difficult thing. So what I do is when I go into the jails, I help to identify if they have a case. So we figure out a couple of things. Have they suffered SA? Or was it physical, or was it emotional? And all right, so we have to identify that. Was it in an institution? Most of the people down in Victoria might have went through like Malmesbury. It's called Parkville now, but it used to be known as Tirana Boys Home. So that's like a youth detention centre, as I said earlier. So my example is Brisbane Boys Yard. And also lots and lots of foster care system, SA down here, Resi Care, kids getting fostered out to families. So we help to identify, so if it was under 18, sometimes we can still help if it's over 18. So we help out with any paperwork that's involved. We help to support and advocate the whole way throughout these cases. So my case and my dad's case took about 2.5 to 3 years. Guys are going in and out of jail too, so it makes it very hard. There's active using in and out of jail. There's intergenerational trauma. There's intergenerational incarceration. Mum's in jail, dad's in jail. Kids are in the foster care system is very common. There's drugs and alcohol. So yeah, we sort of help to check in with the survivors. We help to encourage them to get on their mental health care plans. And we also help, so most survivors are diagnosed with what's called a psychosocial disability. So myself, I had PTSD. My father has other psychosocial disabilities. So we've been able to identify that we can get guys on NDIS through that psychosocial, but sometimes they might have acquired brain injuries or physical disabilities, cognitive disabilities.
I saw a video once you did
Yeah.
you did the stats on the NDS. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was craziness. Do you remember what they were off the top of your head?
I think it was a 2018 report on the Australian Institute of something. It was 29% of prisoners are diagnosed with a disability, whereas only 18% of Australians are. But how many are walking around undiagnosed in jails? Like most guys in jail are dealing with some sort of trauma, whether it's institutional or closer to home or other things that they've been through. These are old numbers too. So we're dealing and helping people gain access in jails all the time. We're helping with support coordination, support work.
And how do you find that you're treated when you're going in? Not just because you used to be in there, but most people going in are trying to, help people in there do better so they don't come back.
Yeah.
But you're going in there and you might be getting some people in trouble that work in there. So do you find like they really don't like you going in?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Like heaps of people, I know when I was in jail, like you get treated like absolute dog shit. There's screws just speaking to you like shit all the time. They just speak down to you. It's really sad to see, and it's hard. Like every single day it's consistent, like just consistently getting treated like shit. But it's not, it happens from both sides. There's the us versus them mentality. And it's probably been going ever since Australia was conceived, we were conceived under the convicts, coming to Australia. I start to pay my respects to all First Nations mob, past, present, and emerging, because they were here before any of us. But I mean, the white Australians that were brought here were all convicts. So I think that us first name mentality is just ingrained in Aussies. But yeah, it needs to be broken because it's unhealthy for both sides, But now that I come in on a service provider level or professional status, there's different languages for different states. I am studying law now, but I don't give out any legal advice ever or at all. But yeah, when I come in, there's a bit of a different respect, but there's still always dickheads. It just happens. In one of my visits inside of one of the correctional centres, I had to witness a guy come down who wasn't seeing me. It made me really upset and sick to see it happen. But I know this guy had a disability because the person that was visiting him was a service provider for NDIS. So I seen him come down, I seen him check in his stuff, and he was walking sort of towards the wrong way where the service providers were. And maybe it was his first time down, maybe he was a bit flustered. I know that in some units they have disability units and things like that. So it might have been confronting. It is confronting coming from a unit because you don't know if you're going to have a drama with someone, because you might have. So in jail, all the units are segregated. So there's protection, which is where rapists, kid touchers, pedophiles go, and then there's mainstream. But inside of mainstream, you might have non-associations on like a different club member, a different gang member. You might have had a fight with someone, so you're not allowed to be together. So when you like leave your unit, you leave your little safety bubble. You might be walking on the walkway and you see an old mate from fucking when you were on the outside and you have to have a crack, or you might go to visit and you have to deal with people.
It's not like they send you up
a
screw or something.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, so you're walking by yourself.
Sometimes you
Yeah.
will get escorted, sometimes you won't. But it's just like you don't know what to expect. Someone might be having a bad day. Who knows? So yeah. Anyway, so he gets into the visit and sort of he was just walking towards like he was going to get a general visit, but he didn't know that he had to go into here. And this screw just like pushed him, but turned him the way that he had to walk. And I was like, who are you to touch him? Like, it made me like, it just reminded me of what they're like, what they can be like. But yeah, when I generally go in, they would generally have a certain respect for me. I don't know if they have, if they know I have lived experience or not. But I don't go out and tell them. I just go in there and do my job. I'll be respectful. If you give respect, sometimes you get it back. But I don't go in there with a bad attitude. There's no need for it because I know where it gets you. I know exactly where it will get you. And we have to work alongside corrections. I don't like screws at all. Not at all. They're there to do a job and so am I. And there's, a job that needs to be done and you just be professional. Go in there, get the job done. Everyone goes home happy, healthy and safe.
Yeah. I just thought because you're hearing stories, you might be getting them in trouble. They wouldn't like you because of that.
In some cases, yes. Like some of these juvenile detention officers are now in the men's maximum jails and sometimes in high-ranking positions in the jails. They may not. So sometimes too, we have guys telling us their stories that's happened as adults. So there is time limitations and things like that depending on different cases. But so when you're in jail, there might be guys who have been towed up by so-and-so. And yeah, you're right, that can happen. And sometimes, they'll just leave it until they get out because it's not worth the drama. Because if they find out, they can make your life hard. I've definitely heard of guys getting put in segregation and just getting bashed. Squad will come down. Squads like this, the squad will come down if there's things get out of hand.
Like the SWAT of jail.
Yeah, it's like the SWAT of jail. If things get out of hand. They look like we used to call them turtles because they come down in the full Ninja Turtle helmet, full padded up dogs. Then dogs are scary, man. They're very scary.
I've seen them train them. There's no way.
Yeah.
So for you, coming out, obviously getting through trials and tribulations, what was it your family network for you? And how important was a community of people that you could lean upon that you knew were, not going to pull you back into an old life? How important was that for you?
Community?
Yeah.
So when I got out, out of that life, I didn't really have a community. I was just rolling one out. So I was taking a lot of drugs, bro. I had a girlfriend at the time. And I actually feel really bad for her because I was she was a stiff. When I say stiff, she was just clean skin. She wasn't getting in trouble. She had a full-time job. She was paying off her house. I was living there. But essentially, I didn't even have a job, I don't think, at some of them points. So then I got a job, but I was just making the money the wrong way and I was just drinking, partying. Maybe some of them days, I don't know, 5 out of 7 days a week, I was just fucking sitting home snorting rack. And that's unhealthy, brother.
Yeah.
They put you in a very bad headspace. Some days I wasn't leaving the house. I was just anxiety, looking behind the curtains, checking if people come. No one's coming. But I still had the thing in my head, I lost all my friends, the whole circle. I was worried about the cops kicking the door in. I was worried about guys coming and getting me. But then I soon realised there are positive people out there. And through just I started listening to podcasts, man. Just literally started listening to Tony Robbins, Gary Vaynerchuk. And them guys just inspired me. And then I found more people. And then I started working. And then I started university. And then I actually met a group of people. There's a lady named Suzanne Reich. And her nickname's the Godmother. She's the head criminologist at Uni SQ. And she's also a director of Healing Voices Foundation, alongside Ron Hutchison, who is an ex-prison pastor. So our other director is someone who works inside of About Time for Justice now. He's got a double degree in law and accountancy. So we got a pretty good little tight crew on board at the moment. But yeah, so she introduced me to a group of lived experience people who are studying now. So some of them was like myself, even guys who are only done 6 months. Richard Brooking, he's lived experience, finished his law degree. and he was a drug manufacturer. There's another lady named Shannon Perry. She's just finished her master's in law. Then there was a couple of lifers there who studied. Another one who's studying SOAC. Another one who's studied different degrees, comes from army background, then went to jail. So that community was really good for me. We used to rock up every single week. Now we've all just leveled up and just grown out. Not that we don't care about each other, but we just don't have time, brother. You know what I mean? Back then, everyone didn't have a job. We were trying to find our feet. I'm running a few businesses now, studying. But yeah, that sense of community was super important, but I didn't have it at the start. I was just running the ball up by myself with my dad. It was just family. It's just me and my dad. I was just turning up every single fucking day, bro.
And it sounds like when you got that sense of community, though, do you reckon it was a turning point for when you started to really level up?
Yeah, I did, because it opened doors. So all my network before was like drug dealers, bikies, crims. But then I started going to like university law balls, or like Susan would like introduce me to someone else, and then introduce me to someone else. And now my network's like, lawyers, some barristers, some doctors, I still kick it with lived experience community, business owners like Troy, and other. I still kick it with a lot with lived experience, because I still feel like sometimes I can't really connect with them people in some senses. Like I have mates who are, this was a really hard thing for me when I left that life behind, was letting trust in the door, because I couldn't trust people. But then I started realizing like my Koe, who I used to kick the door in with, I don't have to do that with Troy. You know?
Yeah.
Like I don't need to like trust his cunt that much that he won't roll on me. Like you can still have normal friends.
Yeah. When I left, one of the hardest things, we used to always say normal people scared us. But all your terminologies, everything you talk about is club.
Yeah.
When you get out, all of a sudden you're like, what the hell do I talk to people about?
Yeah.
Because you've literally got nothing else to talk about.
Yeah.
So that do you think, like, getting back, were you still doing martial arts, like boxing and gym and all that at this point, even when you were like partying 5 days a week and all that? Or did you have to reintegrate all that back in so that way you could have other stuff to talk about?
Yeah, I was sort of, I had to reintegrate it, but it's like some of them points, like I wasn't training at all.
Yeah.
I was just drinking and snorting coke.
Yeah.
But yeah, them things definitely helped me. A sense of I'm turning up to the gym. Boxing was a big one for me. It really helped. When I first kicked off my business, I was so busy. I was training for a fight. I was studying law. I was running my business. I was volunteering my time to train at Risk Youth for a boxing program. I had a girlfriend at the time too. But yeah, it's a lot, man. But yeah, turning up to the gym was my favorite part of the day. I love going to the gym. Just the people that are there at the gym.
Yeah.
There's so many different people. It's diversity in boxing.
Yeah, and nothing else matters there.
Yeah.
We always used to laugh about that, like in the club too. You'd see two members talking that on the outside of club life would never, ever cross paths or talk to each other. And that's what it's like when you're in a boxing gym.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to ask you something, just slipped my mind what it was.
Slipped your mind?
Yeah.
Always. So, I mean, obviously, the foundation you're launching, that's what's next on the cards for you.
Yeah.
Is there any other major moves you're making this year? What are your plans to make over the next few years?
Yeah, well, my goal is to open up a law firm. So that's my goal with my law firm, or with my legal studies anyways, is to open up a law firm.
What made you choose law out of everything that there is to do?
Well, I suppose when I started doing this advocacy, I seen that a lot of people that we help go to lawyers, and I also had really bad experiences with lawyers growing up. My dad was offered a plea bargain at the start of his sentence, and I think he's like, nah, fuck that, find that lawyer. And this other one's like, you'll get this, you'll get, it'll be good. He got smashed. He got 16.5 years on the bottom, but his Koe, essentially Koe's business partner, he's got 22.5 years on the bottom. So they got hammered. They got absolutely hammered. And also myself, my own Koes, I've seen lawyers say you're going to get this, didn't get that. And just treating guys' crims like shit, trading guys out for, like, say if there's a bigger crim that's like, it's got a bit of clout or whatever, it's got heaps of money, they'll throw someone else under the bus, like lawyers working with the prosecution and things like that. So I wanted to do criminal law when I first started, and because I wanted to help people out, but I feel like personal injuries is where I want to go. So personal injuries is like, and this is all the lawyers that we work with. So like motor vehicle accident, institutional abuse, workplace injury, total permanent disability, public liability. So I feel like for me specific, police tort. So like if the police do unlawful arrest or bashing you up in the cells, things like that. I feel like I could have a bigger impact on people's life, helping them get compensation for if they've been through injustices. In particular, the institutional essay. And, I remember when I was in jail, the police used to rock up to my house and terrorise my mum while I was in jail, Maxima. Rocking up, oh, where's Jacob? How is he? Like, what's he doing? Like, I'm in jail. She knows. They know. I don't like how the police do that stuff. There's not all bad ones. But yeah, so I'd like to specialise in helping survivors with my law degree. That's sort of, yeah.
But that stuff with them coming to your house while you were in jail,
Yeah.
just for anybody listening, when you're in a bike club, that shit happens.
Yeah.
People don't understand that. Does that happen to some of our members too? Like, it definitely does happen.
Yes.
Like, people don't realise what it's like being a bikie with all these Vlad laws, like an extra 20 years just because you're a bikie.
Yeah.
Like, it's craziness. It basically strips you of all of your human rights. Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Anybody who sees this in the future, every single Monday night, me and Troy and another one of our mates go live. We have a little group called the Knockaround Guys. But on last Monday's episode, these Vlad laws, or New Zealand's equivalent, they just sort of started coming in and we were talking about it. And one of the brothers, ex-member from Australia, got deported under 501 status. It basically means if you're born in a different country and you come to Australia and you commit a crime or you seem to have a bad character reference, you can get deported. This guy actually had no criminal history, but just because he's in the club, he got deported. Anyway, we sort of had him on and he was on the whole time we were talking about. This guy's name's Lee Tapia, and he runs a program in Blenheim in New Zealand. But anyway, so Troy was saying, oh, I seen them laws. He's like, I swear I seen some 13-year-old kid got locked up or arrested because he had a T-shirt on. So this 13-year-old kid had been arrested, and then Lee jumped on and clarified that he actually did. So these laws are draconian, like they're nuts. Like, how could you lock someone away, lock a kid up because he has a T-shirt on? Yeah.
And it was a boxing T-shirt. It wasn't an official club. It looked like a club shirt, but it wasn't. One of the interesting things about the New Zealand laws, they pinched somebody 3 minutes after 12. The laws come in at 12 o'clock midnight, and they got somebody at 3 minutes past 12. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Same thing. Wear a T-shirt.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But all them laws are coming in here now, in Victoria.
Yeah.
So they mainly were in Queensland.
I think they originally started in South Australia.
Yeah.
And then they went Queensland. And then they had like different variations, like consorting laws. So I remember just before I got locked up, man, they went to the clubhouse and smashed the whole 3 clubhouses, smashed them. That wasn't just ours, it was everyone's. But we had 3 clubhouses, Gold Coast, Southside, Ipswich, all smashed to pieces. Like the cops went in there, kicked the door in, got sledgehammers out, ripped it apart, teared it all out. And then in New South Wales, they had the consorting laws and they closed down clubhouses and things like
that. The chapter that I was in, the president went on holidays overseas, and when he come back, they were like, you're not allowed back in Australia, we've cancelled your citizenship. Well, he didn't have his citizenship, they cancelled his visa, but he was born in another country, but he hadn't been there since he was 3 years old, didn't speak the language, nothing. Wow. And they just simply said, you can't come back. Wow. So he lost everything, lost his family, lost absolutely, had to sell up just to survive for a couple of years until he could find his feet and get a job and everything overseas.
Wow.
He lost everything. Yeah. So he wasn't any charges, no nothing. He just simply went on holidays and was coming back. Sorry.
That is a crazy story.
Yeah. But it definitely happens. People don't realise that all this stuff really does.
Yeah.
It's an interesting. Like doing this podcast has been so interesting for me because I obviously know nothing about this world. Yeah. So it's interesting to hear similarities in so many people's stories about their turning points and how, they just have these unique moments. It's different for everyone. Like the turning point to go, that's the thing that made me turn the corner and want to have a better life. And then the sense of community, how it seems like with most people, and that's why I'm so passionate about helping you guys with the mental health militia and everything you're doing, is because these communities are needed.
Yeah.
For people coming out, they feel like strangers to the normal crew.
Yeah.
To have communities built up with people that are, giving back, doing good things, that are of the same, same crew, the same caliber of people that, they are coming out. It's so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even like our little crew that we've got going on now. It's like we get it because we're from that life and that. But 5 o'clock in the morning, Jacob's posted in there. Let's get these wins, And all we're doing is talking about like what we got on for the day, how we're gonna crush it, what we're doing, how are we gonna get out there, and how we're gonna smash it. And it's so different than your mates saying to you, "Are we just getting smashed this weekend? What are we doing? Who's getting the bag? What's going on?" Instead of now, it's like, "What's on this weekend? What can we do? Where are we going to, shoot some reels or something?"
I'm so I'll say this. I'm fucking so sick of negativity.
Yeah.
I'm very thankful. I've got a good group of friends, but I feel like most people you ask, "Hey, how you doing?" "Oh, this is happening. My boss, fucking the car, this, that, whatever," and no one turns around and goes, "I'm fucking fantastic." Today's what a fucking day to be alive. I'm super fantastic. I feel like more and more of the people you introduce me to, you ask them, "How you doing?" "Oh, this is going on." I'm like, "I just love this." Like this morning I got up, I just got to the gym, I did this. And it's not about I made it so much money or whatever. It's just they are so content in the days that they live because they've lived a life of they've been just reduced of what their freedoms were.
Yeah.
So you have so much more of an appreciation of what a day is.
Yeah.
It's good. So like the stigma people have around crims and our motorcycle gang people, they are some of the most beautiful people because you have such an outlook on life that most people don't have because they've never had their freedoms restricted.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah. And like I was naughty and like Jacob was naughty when he was in the club, but there are so many members in there that aren't at all. There are some members that are in there just to ride bikes. Like there really is, but everybody gets painted with the same brush all the time. True. And it's not true. And I'm saying I was naughty and I'm saying there are straight people in there. I'm not saying we're all good and none of us do anything because we do, but it's not everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And you've got another business doing support coordination and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, so that one's called Rainbow Respite. So,
geez, you've got some good names going. I'll give you. I don't know what sort of think tank you're fucking doing, but there's some good names.
Oh, thank you, bro. Yeah, that was actually my mum's. So my mum supported me so much through jail, bro. Like, even though I was always fucking up, like, the police rocking up to my house, other people, crims rocking up to my house at different points. She would always be there for me. When I went to jail when I was looking at 20 plus years, she went to this march in Brisbane and spoke up in front of a big group of people. She got all these pink t-shirts made up for me. She was turning up to my visits. She's always there for me, man. Got so much love for my mum, and so I grew up single parent relationship. There's a lot of domestic violence, lots of different men in my life. And it was hard growing up, but my mum always made sure that we had food on the table, no matter whatever it took. She always put food on the table and always provided for us. And when I was 12 years old, she moved us away from the Housing Commission and moved us to Queensland. And just used to turn up to work every single week, 40, 50 hours just to support me and my little sister for many years. There were men in our life on and off over the years, but it was always my mum, always been there for her. Always been there for me. And I don't know, about 4 years ago, probably now, she started doing support work. And my mum's like, she has a hustler's mentality, She always used to put food on the table no matter what. So she was always grinding. She's always got good ideas, things like that. And she's like, I'm going to do this business called Rainbow Respite. So she set it up. And then she got sick, man. She got multiple system atrophy of the cerebellum. and this is in the Parkinsonia family, and so there is multiple system atrophy of cerebellum Parkinsonia. MSAP, so multiple system atrophy Parkinsonia, or multiple system atrophy of the cerebellum. So she's got the C type, so she's rapidly declined over the past few years. She's in a wheelchair most of the time. She can't speak properly. She can't write properly. Man, this lady just used to be full of energy. She's the life of the party, literally. You know, me and my mum have a really different relationship. I drank with my mum, party with my mum, done all the things with my mum. It's real cool. But yeah, she sort of got, she got sick, and she said to me, Jacob, can you take over the business? I didn't have capacity at the time. And then she asked me again later on, and I had capacity. So we took over the business, and yeah, we do support work, like yourself, support coordination. And we use it as a bit of a pivot for our Healing Voices Foundation, because we already had some guys that we're supporting through About Time for Justice, some other people reaching out to us. But yeah, that business has been going for a while. It was my mum, so I'm keeping her dream and mission and vision alive until the foundation kicks off. So yeah, we've been able to give my mum, you know, to help her out, helps us out. But yeah, that's sort of, Mum started the Rainbow Respite, and yeah.
Yeah. What do you think are some of the biggest things that helped you, I don't want to say recovery, but like that helped you in your healing space? Like, so when you were like, that's it, no more drugs, I'm going to do everything.
Yeah.
Have you got like, you know, I went to see a psych, I started doing this, I started doing A, B, and C?
Yep. So definitely psych. I speak to a mental health practitioner. You know, that language probably sounds really funny. I'm just going to say like a counsellor or a psych.
Yeah.
You know, or even a safe person like my dad or a friend, or, you know, whoever that is. So I would always try and speak to somebody at least once a month. I actually made it part of my goals is to speak to somebody twice a month, bro.
Yeah.
Because so I use training now. So for healing for me, I use training. I use visualization, meditation. I've been a bit stuck on the visualization and meditation, but also I do a grateful list every single day. Every single day I wake up and I do what I'm grateful for. So it's always freedom and loved ones, because my freedom means so much to me. And then my loved ones mean so much to me. And then also I do a power list. So that is a part of my healing journey, man. It gets me a win. So I have to do 5 items every single day that will move me forward for that day. That'll work towards my end goal for each year. So, you know, my goals.
Is that 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll do that every single day, grateful list, try and train every single day. If I don't train, I have like real bad head noise. So I speak to a mental health practitioner twice a month. But right from the start, man, I've been doing that grateful list, nearly right from the start, and the power list. Yeah.
And everyone, like, it's a common thing that everyone thinks is if you've got a conviction or been to jail, you can't travel anymore.
Yeah.
And you've just been gallivanting around the world, doing some awesome shit.
Yeah.
What was your favourite things that you were doing? You went to a heap of places.
Yeah, no, it was pretty cool. I'd say the highlight of my trip would be Dubai New Year's Eve, a place called the Palm, Atlantis. It was really good fireworks, a massive party that was set up. There's heaps of DJs and heaps of nice food. Yeah, it was really pretty. Like, I've never seen anything like it. I felt out of place there, to be honest. I was like, these cunts are way too fancy for me. I'm just fucking Howzo coming, just a spastic having a crack, really. Yeah. And then also when we flew from Dubai to a place called Doha, it's one of the only places in the world where the desert meets the sea. So that day was really cool. Got picked up from our hotel, drove about 45 minutes through the desert. We went on these 4-wheel drive buggy things, just drove around a little track, which was pretty cool. We were only in the track. I wanted to go out in the sand dunes. I was like, fuck, that would have been way better. Anyway, so we got to the next place, and they're like, here's some camels. So we jumped on the camel. Over there they have falcons. Falcons are really big for the Emiratis, I think they're called, Arabs, United Arab Emirates. Anyway, so that's sort of like Dubai, Doha, all them countries over there. So falcons are really big. So they actually put falcons on the plane, man. Like their own seat, brother. Like a falcon gets their own seat.
Yeah.
Like,
really?
yeah, bro. Falcons are massive over there. Like, it means heaps to them.
Yeah.
So yeah, they put a Falcon on our went for a camel ride. Then we jumped in the 4-wheel drive and started driving through the desert, bro. It was amazing. Like you would literally look down the side of this desert, on this cliff, like sand dune, big desert sand dune.
Yeah.
It's like 100 meters down, man.
What?
And you can just see the sand like coming across the desert, and it's just like flicking down the side, and you look down.
Did you do the extreme 4-wheel driving?
So we went pretty hard in the 4-wheel drives.
Yep.
We went pretty hard.
It was terrifying. I did it in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, you did?
Scared the shit out of me. After 15 minutes, I was like, I'm done. I'm starting to get a bit. It was insane.
Yeah.
I did extreme 4-wheel driving in New Zealand in purpose-built twin steer machines.
Yeah.
And a Nissan Patrol in the desert in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
But shitloads more terrifying than a purpose-built track to scare.
Yeah.
Wow. It was full on. And they were saying they use the Falcons for hunting.
Yeah.
They send them up, and then so they don't like use it to get things anymore. But they'll like
pinpoint.
They're like, go over here, dude. You know, something like that.
Yeah.
And you went to Vietnam as well.
Yeah, Vietnam was pretty cool. We went to.
You were running, filming yourself. Like, am I in a race now?
Yeah, love it. Got to make them Ks, brother. Yeah.
How was that?
Yeah, good. So we went to Ho Chi Minh. Used to be called Saigon. Yeah, so mad food, cheap drinks, really amazing places. So I went to the old war museum. So I had like the Vietnam War, so the Americans versus Vietnam, and all the other countries that come in, and just seeing all the old photos and old guns, things like that.
They have an incredible history that not a lot of people talk about. In Vietnam.
Yeah.
But I had a friend that was living over there for a while, and she, like beautiful place. He said I'd highly recommend compared to other places that most people go, like Thailand and Bali. But the history over there is incredible.
Yeah, it's amazing. We went to the Ho Chi Minh War tunnels. So like they had all these tunnels, man. They had 3 different like levels and layers of tunnels. So the top one would be for like just so people are fighting, and then I think it was women and children. I can't remember what the third one was. But yeah, they had these 3 layers, man. And like, so the first maybe layer and a half or 2 layers could be bombed. There might have been women and children on the bottom. And yeah, like they just had like 50 kilometers or 80 kilometers just of all these tunnel systems. Apparently some haven't been found because they just got blown up. And so why the purpose that they had the different levels as well was, so if they got the gas bombs, they would go into the second layer and then just lock it off.
Yeah.
So they couldn't get gassed out. But these guys, like they explained that they didn't have much like money. So if there's anything that was wasted from the Americans dropping bombs, they would use it. So they had all these booby traps, man. So like when you see the movies, like big things like swinging from the trees with like big like steel like hooks and stuff like that. So you would step into like a booby trap, and it would just like have 2 wheels with big steel prongs coming out of it, and they'd poison it too. So like it wouldn't kill you initially, but like 2 or 3 days, the poison would set in. You're stuck. You can't get out.
Yeah.
Just all these different random booby traps. We set these big AK-47s. Dad loved it. Yeah, that was pretty one of the highlights. Going there shooting them guns with my dad.
Yeah. There's a lot of people are pretty miserable when they come out, like when they've been charged and like they can't go anywhere. You can.
Yeah.
You can just give it a go. Go get your passport and try it.
Yeah, Bali, Thailand, Vietnam. I went to England. I've been trying to go to New Zealand. That's been difficult. I think America, you have to apply. My friend Nathan was just telling me last night, actually, he tried to apply for America. And he said that it took, so he put 7 months, like in his, like, so the event was 7 months away. So he applied and he didn't get an answer for 9 months, and they knocked him back.
I heard that if you go to like Canada maybe is a bit lenient.
Yeah.
You can go to Canada and then just drive across. I heard that's an easier way how to do it.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I know some people who've done it that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Because, apparently it's just a lot easier to go through the little stop at the border.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah. Well, how was England? Because it was very expensive.
I didn't really like it, man. I got family over there. So we actually went over there to see Dr. Cockerell. I think he's at the Mayo Clinic or something like that. It's like a big fancy medical clinic for my mum. for her diagnosis to see if we could try and find a different answer. So she had like 4 neuropsychs tell her the same thing, and we wanted to try and get a different answer, bro.
Yeah.
But we didn't get it. So that was, other than that part was really hard because, when he told us that all the family's together and we left that place, it was very sad.
Yeah.
And all the older aunties and uncles. Yeah, it was hard, but yeah, it's different over there. I didn't really like it that much. It's cold, bro. It's ugly. Some of the shops was really good. I think it's like herring shops or something. I don't know, man. Some of the best shops I've ever seen in my life. Like Dubai has nice shops. At the Burj Khalifa, it's like the biggest building in the world. They had an aquarium, bro, in the shops there. Like all the designer shops. I don't really get into that much designer stuff. But yeah, it was amazing there. But England, Harrods, it's called. Harrods in England. And bro, like all the nicest shops I've ever seen in my life. I went out one night with my uncle, which is pretty cool. But most of the time, we had to go and it was just family stuff, you know. But I sort of didn't get to go out and see the nightlife. But yeah, me and my uncle had fun for a few hours. A little bit of mischief.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to see, you know, getting out traveling.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully we're going to be in Bali soon.
Yeah.
Do a retreat.
Yeah.
Take a heap of guys with Dennis from Run That Rehab and
Mm.
run a 7-day retreat on how to change your life from 3 guys that have done it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, 4 guys really. There's a guy over there now that's doing retreats who we're linking up with.
Well.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mm.
So that's something pretty exciting that I really want to push for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you done Bali yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I stopped down the way home from Dubai for a few days. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And you like that?
Yeah.
Compared to Vietnam? They're totally different?
So I went to Bali like 3 times before COVID, and one of them times I was on tour. I think 2 of them times I was in the club. So I was just in party boy stage and it was lovely.
Yeah.
There was the girls everywhere.
Yeah.
It's drinking. But yeah, this time when I went there, I just kicked back because I was just sort of had a big period just fucking being a mess, just doing whatever I wanted in Dubai. So I sort of wanted to, I knew I had to come straight back into jail visit. So I used them last 3 days because it's 8 hours ahead or behind, and then it's only 3 hours in Bali. So I just tried to come back and try and get out of that jet lag so much.
Well, you pumped those jail visits.
Yeah.
You pumped them. What did you do, 15 the other day or something like
that?
Yeah,
well,
crazy.
I was trying to get 15, but it's really hard and it gets a bit slow. We have 15 clients book, some move. I think I ended up getting 9 and only 7 yesterday. It's just not enough time in between the visits. Like it takes like 10 or 20 minutes for the new guy to come down. And then also, so in between jail visits, you got to like call the person down who might be on the other side of the jail. And then there's airlocks. So when you walk through your door, bro, that's what you call one airlock. There might be like 20 airlocks. And say there has to be movement allowed. So movement means like people walking. So like just say, for example, I've got a drama with old mate where NA's like he can't go that way, or there's protection walking in the same walkway. So you got like 15, 20 airlocks to get to wherever it is. Sometimes it can take like 10 minutes to half an hour to get the next jail visit down. So sometimes, yeah, it's been hard to see all the guys, so I'm going to have to come back.
Wow. There's all these things that we'd never know about unless you talk about it.
Yeah, that's right.
I honestly appreciate you coming down and coming on because it's been amazing. It's amazing hearing your story and hearing about how much you're already doing. And it sounds like how much more you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to see you go through the law. Because I'm one's fascinated by that area of the world. So again, thank you for coming down, making the time, coming on here, and just being open, honest, and sharing your story. It's been good.
Yeah, on your brother, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, cheers. Thanks, heaps.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us, fellas. If anyone wants to give us a follow on social media or look up About Time for Justice, just look up About Time as in TIME for FOR Justice. And then my handles are Jacob _Little 111, and I also have a podcast and YouTube channel, Jails, Gangs and Justice. So if anyone wants to hit us up, check out the foundation, Healing Voices Foundation or Rainbow Respite. The best way to contact me directly though is through my Instagram, Jacob _Little 111, best responder there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Jen.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Thanks heaps.